everyone. My name is Devin, better known as Big Country, and just in case y'all don't know, because I'm big for a 14-year-old, and I'm country. And this is my Uncle Mark, y'all, and thank you for tuning into my channel, Devin's Mastermind. So, Uncle Mark, so basically what we're going to get into today, we're going to get into that scrimmage that I heard earlier this weekend on Thursday. Then we're going to get into the teams not being treated right, and the Titans maybe being a super team. And also a special shout out to one of my friends at the end of the video. So, Uncle Mark, let's start with my scrimmage.
All right, great. First of all, thanks for having me, and enjoyed coming to the scrimmage.
Yeah.
I got to see you play. But what I want to ask you is, how were you feeling when you were getting ready to run onto that field for the first time to actually play? How did you feel? What were your feelings?
I want to tell you, I was feeling pumped up. I was ready to get me my sacks and my tackles and forced fumbles, but unfortunately, that didn't happen. And I kind of had wanted to do a little bit more than what I did, I know. So, yeah, that was really about it and all that kind of stuff. I wish I would have played a little bit better than what I did, even though I was just getting into the start of everything and getting to the hang of everything and all that stuff. So, yeah.
Well, let me say this. Being an observer, watching the game, they never ran to your side. They always ran to the other side. Now, whether or not that was the strong side or the weak side and how they actually run, that's how teams actually operate. They run to their strong side. And depending on how they're lined up, I know your line flipped.
Yeah.
And so, really, I mean, you can't make tackles if they don't run your way.
Yeah, I can't.
But let me say this, just overall, how do you feel the defense did, just overall?
I felt basically the defense did really good because, we got we kept getting stops. We got an interception. We got the game-winning interception to seal the game by one of my dudes named Carson. And all that stuff. So I felt like the defense did pretty good coming into there. But that offense, it was good, but the offense I felt like could have been better because they kind of weren't giving us breaks. It's like, as soon as here's the offense comes, then here comes the defense. And I couldn't, and I was trying to get my breath and all that stuff. I was just trying to get into the motion and the hang of everything and all that. So that's why.
Let me ask you this. There was one particular play, they did run to your side, but the guys on your side, you and your other teammates, looked like you had it stacked up, and the running back bounced it outside. And so at that point, you start chasing. So what's going through your mind when he's looked like he's running right at you, but then because the line is stacked up, he bounces it outside. What are you thinking of, or can you remember what you were thinking at that particular moment?
I was thinking dang, I'm tired of him doing this. Like, come on now, I'm trying to get a tackle. I ain't trying to sit there and play pancake with you. I ain't trying to get pancake. I'm trying to get a tackle. I'm getting tired of you bouncing all around. If you're scared of me, just say something. But if you were a man, you would come to me so I can hit you.
All right.
That's part of being a man.
All right. Well, overall, I would say yes. You had some good play on the line. Just that, unfortunately, they either bounced it outside, which says you and your teammates had that side stopped up. There was nowhere to go. But then they ran the other side. But the other side defense did well as well. So I think the whole team, the defense looked pretty good. So how are you looking forward to your first regular season game? How far is that away?
That's on August 26th at 5:30.
At 5:30. Do you know who the opponent is?
North Oconee.
North Oconee, you're right.
All right. Oh yeah, that rivalry. It's gonna be some trash talking. It's gonna be some hard hitting, and it's gonna be a bloody fight. It's gonna be a dog fight because that's what rivalries are all about.
All right.
Now I'm ready. I'm ready to go 7-0, and then go to the championship.
All right. Well, thank you, Dan. We appreciate it. There's not a lot more to say other than that I think you did do a good job. Just keep working hard. I encourage your teammates, and we look forward to just coming out and seeing you, and hopefully we'll be able to interview you the next time. And maybe we can do it after the game if you come in that locker room. So I turn it back to you. So,
and just to tell you before we get off of that, there was one play where the guy dude had snapped over at the head and they had fumbled, and I was trying to run and get there, but then when I saw him, I was like, dang. I was like, dang, I wanted to really get him. And then he just kept running, but eventually I got to him and all that stuff. Yeah, so basically that's it and all that. Yeah. Okay. So next up, I know we want to get into about, the college football, about the SEC potentially being a super conference and you call it a Junior NFL. So what's your thoughts on that?
Well, I've listened to some of the talking heads. I heard about Oklahoma, I think, and Texas. A petition to come to the SEC. The SEC put an invite, so it's just a matter of working out the timing as far as when. But that leaves the Big 12 in a pickle because now they got to decide: are they going to try to replace them or what?
Yeah.
But then I'm hearing also you've got teams in the ACC looking to move, and some wanting to come to the SEC. So I've heard them reference the SEC as the Junior NFL, and they've really been critical of the NCAA, which I have to agree that during this pandemic, they really did not take a front row or take charge of the situation, and they sort of let the teams just kind of do their own thing. They let the conferences do their own thing, which showed that the NCAA did not have authority over these colleges. And I understand that they're autonomous and they can kind of do what they want, but at the same time, they did not give no direction for them. And so I see them slowly kind of disintegrating, and the SEC look like they're going to be the powerhouse to take over. And SEC has always been the NFL of the college ranks, the SEC.
It just means more. And I think the reason why some of those teams that you had said earlier were trying to get out of the ACC is probably because they're too scared of Clemson and they can't beat them. So that's why. But the SEC, like they said, it's a hard conference to be in. Now, there's a lot of teams that are not good in the SEC. Like you got Kentucky ain't good, South Carolina ain't good, Mississippi State ain't good, Missouri ain't that good. The only good teams that I see is Georgia, Texas A&M, Florida, LSU, Auburn, somewhat, and did I forget Alabama? I put
Alabama.
Yeah, and all of them, man. That and some of the Ole Miss, because they're trying to get a little up to where they were. But yeah, those are the only good teams that I see in that.
But you know what? Here's the thing, and I think we're gonna get to that. This is a good segue into it. Is that you have teams like Kentucky, Ole Miss. They are more North Carolina's ACC, but I just named them because they're mostly known for basketball.
Yes.
Yeah. But the coach at Kentucky and Ole Miss, some of the schools you're talking about, they really want to make a name for themselves in football. And if you really look at them, they have really started coming up. So you can't sleep on them, or you'll end up losing.
Because I don't sleep on the Ole Miss.
Yeah, you better not sleep on Kentucky either. They've gotten better. A lot of them are getting better. But then also, those teams that you named that are really, when you look at the SEC, not the cream of the crop of the SEC, what everybody is saying, the talking heads, is that those teams can go to other conferences and dominate them.
Yeah.
They're saying they're that much better. And so that's why the SEC basically is the king of college football.
Yeah, I got you on that. And I already told you 100% on that. But I think if Kentucky was good, I don't think Kentucky would have got blown out 63-3 against Alabama.
Well, that's Alabama.
That's a whole lot story. But either way, Ole Miss lost by 15, so that wasn't too bad for Ole Miss. I mean, 63-3. Come on now, you ain't gonna play.
But again, that's Alabama.
Yeah, Alabama's a dominant team. They've been a dominant team since 1869. Well, not 1869, but more like 1900, around somewhere around the 1950s when Paul Bear Bryant really started coaching them, and that was when they were really good for those past 25 years that he was there.
Right.
And all that kind of stuff, yeah. But either way, I think the SEC is going to be dominant for a long time, and I think the Big 12, I think you can just go ahead and X them out, and now you just have either the ACC or maybe the Pac-12, the SEC, mainly, but really the SEC now.
The Pac-12.
Pac-12. The only thing that's good in the Pac-12 is Oregon.
They're not getting any respect. The Pac-12.
Oh no.
Because then not that good.
Hey, don't get me wrong, but
leave them
Oregon,
alone.
you gotta get Oregon. That Oregon team is good.
Yeah, Oregon, 1 out of 12.
Well, Washington did go to the Pac-12, went to the CFP
1 and a
a few years
half.
ago.
Okay, that's a few years ago. 1 out of 12. Consistency. All right, go ahead. I'm sorry.
All right, it's fine. So next up, I know you want to get into the Titans and Julio. How did you feel about that?
Well, again, as I stated last time we had our talk, I really believe Julio left because the Falcons did not draft another quarterback.
Yeah, they should.
And so part of the excuse was the money cap and all of that. So Julio left, went to the Titans, a contender.
Yeah.
That made their offense that much more potent. The question mark is the defense.
Yes,
they're good as they're solid, but come playoff time, you got to step up a notch.
Yeah.
And they got put out of the playoffs last year because the defense did not step up to that extra notch that they needed to. And I think that was that's what happened there. Now, as far as the game last night, the Falcons looked like the Falcons.
Yes.
But they did have a few bright spots
Yeah.
in the game. And so, if you don't mind, let me just kind of name what I saw as a bright spot. I was about to go to sleep. I was flipping the channels. But then the running back, I'm not the running back, but the kick returner and the punt returner, Williamson, he plays cornerback. He's a rookie. He plays cornerback. He had a few breakups. Could have had an interception, but he didn't get it. But he looks exciting. Punt return, kick return. Every time he touches it, he looked like he's ready to go to the house. So he was a good bright spot. The linebacker, Eskridge, he was a bright spot. He was all over the field making tackles. And then offensively, you had Huntley running the ball. And you said, well, he didn't get a lot of yards and all this, but the one run he had, he showed explosiveness, he showed vision, and I tell you, if the line blocks, see, this was not the first team line. So if the line blocks on a regular basis, Huntley's I think he's gonna fill that void that the Falcons needed last year and the other years. And then, last but not least, oh my goodness, Felipe Franks. I don't know where that boy came from.
Florida and Arkansas.
Florida and Arkansas. Okay, he's a walk-on for the Falcons. He looked good. He's a big boy. He's young, a little more development, but I'm excited that the Falcons do have somebody that can move that offense and do something. He got points on the board. Koo, the kicker, he missed the field goal. Yeah, but that was all right. But so that's really 6 points. He sort of led us into position to get, even though we only got 3. But so we had some bright spots.
Yeah, and I totally agree with you on that. And I think the Falcons, they can be good. The only thing is Tom Brady's gonna have to leave the division so they can be really good and stuff. Because I don't think that's happening now. But I think the Falcons in a few years, hopefully, they can bring back. They can be up and not. Yeah, they can rise up.
Yeah.
Like
Don't forget the Saints. Because Jameis Winston, he is. You heard it here on Devin's Mastermind. Jameis Winston will be the starting quarterback for the Saints, and the Saints are gonna come up.
But here's the thing with Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston can't be no 30 touchdown, 30 interception dude. He needs to be the dude that we saw from Florida State in college. Even though that's college, that's a different level, but he needs to be the dude that everybody expected him to be. And I think if he could just turn it, maybe because he had it where he was from one. He had a 4 interception game, and then he had a 5 interception game against the Carolina Panthers. So that can't be allowed. If he does want to, he can throw 1 interception a game, which is 17 interception. Cut it down. Yeah, is what I'm saying.
Well, all the interviews.
Hard,
all the interviews I've heard him say, he said he realized he don't have to carry the team. Yeah, let the team do what it do, and then every now and then, when you have to step up, then step up and do what you do. So sometimes he said throwing the ball away, sometimes taking a sack. You just got to do those things instead of trying to make something happen every play. And I think he's learned a lot sitting behind Drew Brees, and it's going to show. Mm-hmm. It's going to show.
And Drew Brees is totally a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Oh, definitely.
You can't argue about that. Yeah, he might not have 7 rings, but come on now.
Yeah, exactly.
He's a Hall of Famer.
Exactly.
You can't take that away from the great Drew Brees.
Exactly. I agree.
So next topic I want to get into, like these teams in college football, the group of 5 teams, they're not like Power 5, like
Right.
Power 5 looks like it's going to be more like the Power 1 with the SEC and stuff. So it's this, like Cincinnati, they're not treated right. Memphis, at times when they were good, they're not treated right. UCF a few years ago when they went undefeated, a few years ago in the Peach Bowl, they weren't treated right. They actually had a 25-game winning streak. They were 13-0 the first year, then 12-0 another year, and had lost, of course, LSU. But what's your thoughts on some of these teams that you think might have the potential but don't? Because Cincinnati could probably beat a team like Florida, but they couldn't like beat something like Alabama or something. So what's your thoughts on that?
Well, what I want to say to that is this: I believe that the players are starting to realize that they don't have to necessarily go to the Power 5 to be seen. First of all, to be seen. Secondly, they're going to be on television more because of ESPN2. You may not be the major networks per se, but you're going to be on television more. The scouts going to see you, and I think also it gives them a more opportunity to shine, for them to shine. And so I think with that being said, a lot of players are starting to see other recruits, top star recruits, going to some of the lesser schools because everybody's not built to go to a Power 5. And what I mean by that is not athletically, but we're talking about scholastically. And then also not comfortable being in that big town, big school setting versus a smaller school, but yet can still get there and do those things. And so I think they're starting to draw more. And then these schools realize that, and they've stepped up their game by having better weight rooms, more things for the players to do, and promising of graduating. And I think the kids are starting to realize that they need to graduate. And so you have all of those things coming into play. And I do want to say this. I haven't had a chance to say it, but I believe her name was Jane Kemp. When that situation happened at University of Georgia years ago, that changed the landscape of college football. They may not want to admit it, may not agree, but it has changed it because you have some of these 5-star recruits that are academically ineligible to go to some of the Power 5, but some of those lesser schools, and I say lesser by they're not a Power 5. That's what I mean by that. They can go there, and because they don't have a choice, and they versus going to a junior college, JUCO. So so you get more players coming in, better athletes, and that's why Appalachian State.
Appalachian State. Don't sleep on. These are the few teams that you can never ever sleep on. Don't sleep on no Appalachian State, like you said, because they beat Michigan in 2007 on a blocked field goal.
Good coaching.
Yeah. What did they do a few years? What did they do? They beat North Carolina and South Carolina in the same year. What happened when they played Penn State? They only lost by a touchdown. What happened when they played Georgia? Well, Georgia kind of beat them 31-10. And then Tennessee had almost lost to them too. And here's the thing: definitely don't sleep on no BYU.
Right.
Those young Cougars, because them young Cougars, they beat Nebraska, they beat Wisconsin, they beating these big teams, so you don't sleep on them.
And then you have, and you talked about the Power 5, but look at Indiana.
Oh yeah,
they're known for basketball.
Yes.
Well, now what they've been doing exactly. That is it. The last 2 years or so, all of a sudden Indiana is coming up because Ohio State got all they can handle. They beat them. But they barely, they barely got by them. And so that's what's happening. And so when you start winning, and I got to go back to one of your interviews with my brother, your Uncle Ben, at North Alabama. They were the losingest folk I ever seen in my life. But it took one season for everybody to turn it around and beat some folk. I mean, I'm talking about to beat some people that in other people's mind, they had no business winning. And when they start winning, then other recruits say, okay, they winning. Because nobody want to go where you're losing. The only way they go to where you're losing is if they feel like they're the missing piece and they can turn it around.
And build a winning culture.
Exactly. And so, so all of that comes into play. So the Power 5 they still getting their recruits, but also let's be real,
Yeah.
coaching.
That's my.
You gotta have some good coaching, or you still get beat.
Yeah. And I think Michael Penix Jr., from Indiana, I think that's one of a great quarterbacks. Passed over 400 yards and 5 touchdowns in that game against Ohio State.
Right.
And then, like I said, you got teams like in the AAC, which is the American Athletic Conference. Like Houston, they're not good now, but they were good a few years ago. They beat Florida State.
Right.
UCF's been really good. Cincinnati's starting to be a dark contender. And then you got, who else? UCF, I think. Oh, not UCF. You have Memphis, kind of okay. You got SMU, so you got all these teams that are fit, like to almost beat a good team,
right?
And they consider it look at Louisiana Raging Cajuns. They beat Iowa State a year ago, and now they playing Texas. And I'm gonna be sure Louisiana beats Texas this year. I mean, how they've been playing.
Yeah.
I mean, I won't be shocked.
So you just at the end of the day, you cannot take anybody for granted. Just can't do it.
Yeah. I agree with you totally 100% on that. So before I go, I also wanted to give a special shout out to one of my people, Mrs. Bessie, for giving me the Derrick Henry jersey. All that stuff. So I definitely wanted to show everybody this. Derrick Henry, King Henry, the man, the GOAT in stiff arms. This is Derrick Henry right here.
Who embarrasses?
Yeah, he embarrasses
people.
Yeah. So, Uncle Mark, so who do you want to get into a shout out before you both?
I want to shout out to my ride or die partner, Sandra. Woo! Even though our kids, Lexus, Taylor, Courtney, done abandoned us, but it's all good. They're moving on to bigger, better things, and so I want to give them a shout out, and then my brothers and sisters.
All right.